Hello, it's great to be here. I know Tony's tried to get me on board before the pre-pandemic, so it's really great that we're all here in person today. Just kind of wanted to discuss my work here at Lockwood and, how much has changed, from a games perspective. Everyone knows the metaverse now, so we're all experienced a form of loneliness, and the streets all went silent and the shops went crazy. There was no loo roll apparently for a while. But yeah, we really saw this virtual landscape kind of grow and expand to become, a hotbed of community for socialisation, self-expression and creativity, more importantly, which I know you're all very fond of. So yeah, I'm here today to discuss Avakin Life, my job role, careers in the metaverse, and also how we achieve that digital desirability with our content. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope I can inspire you, and I'm really looking forward to Q&As at the end of this presentation. So if we all technically works well. Right, an ever-changing universe of new people. So what is Avakin Life? It's a place that we like to call where you can be unlimited ways to be you. So it's an ever-changing universe of new people, places, and experiences. We build unreal places for authentic people. We've created a reality where players can truly be themselves, and a community that embraces self-expression in Avakin Life. You can create an avatar as unique as you are, chat with millions of minds just like you globally, and hang and chill and go to the events and party and explore a limitless world where there's a place for everyone. So just some stats here. So Avakin hosts a really great desirable base of users in key markets. So we're currently from our startup launch 2013, we've got 200 million registered users. So that's a lot of people, 10 million monthly actives, and then 1.3 million daily actives. We've got over 2 billion chat messages per month and 1.7 billion minutes of engagement per month. So that's an extensive audience to be working with and providing content for weekly. So we do weekly publishes of new content. So that's every Tuesday and a Friday, and it's a live game. It's very intensive, but that makes it really fun to kind of be a part of on that fast train. So yes, we also host a vast, extensive content library. So we're looking at what we're boasting 30,000 assets plus and counting within this meta landscape. So our main audience, target audience, is the 13 to 28-year-old females, but obviously diversity is so important. So we don't just cater for female audience. It is, Avakin is about everyone and anyone within this space. So from a fashion point of view especially, we are always looking at Gen Z audiences and the alpha, the young ones that have had phones from day one. Regionally, we have a huge user base in Brazil. As you can see, that's 29.2%, which is massive. And we're normally primarily on the Android devices. So to kind of sum it up, it's an exploration app where you can go and explore a world without limits. So everything you love and everything you can imagine is waiting for you here. So you've got beaches, you've got cafes, you've got, nature reserves, concerts. We just worked with The Voice. So we had The Voice in Avakin and had our first TV commercial there, which was on ITV, which was great. So you could vote and kind of play The Voice in the game, which was really, really great. You can create an avatar as unique as you. So this is primarily where I kind of sit, and you're creating and customizing your avatar however feels right to you, and change things up whenever you want. So you can really it's a self-extension of yourself on your mobile device, basically. So there really is no place like home. So from penthouses to castles to vampire castles, Halloween's a big month for us. We've got so many amazing, unique spaces that users can really own and they host apartment parties, and there's events in these amazing environments. We've got an absolutely incredible team that work on them. So me, firstly, I should start with my love for gaming. So when I was a teenager, I was an absolute simaholic. I probably shouldn't say that because it's a Lockwood chat, but I was. They're not our biggest competitor. I loved Call of Duty as well. I'm not going to lie. I actually was really good with the shooter games. But for me, I think from my career, I just kind of wanted to kind of give you a bit of background that I loved playing The Sims and like the whole like aspect of, you know, creating your avatar, creating your home and having like this extension of yourself. But it was like the social side of it, I didn't kind of get that tail of it. And like, this is what Avakin really offers, is you can kind of, you know, chat with your friends and kind of have that self-expression, which is really awesome. So for me, it really started from a design point of view when H&M had like their pack, their creative pack, and I saw fashion like actually in this kind of landscape, which I didn't really like, I didn't see it coming, basically. And I wanted to do fashion design at university. That's where I was. I was doing illustration. I loved being creative. And just from a young age, really wanted to kind of be in the creative industry. So I did study traditional fashion design. However, I can honestly say that the pattern cutting side of it, I'm not very good at maths. It was very technical. It wasn't my thing. I have made lots of clothes in the past, but it just didn't really inspire me. And so I went into like trend forecasting and started looking at, I loved gathering like other people's kind of work, mood boards, and like collating like visuals and presenting that. I found that really, really awesome to kind of see, kind of finding out what's going on in the world and what really creates a trend and why people like from lots of different areas kind of focusing on this. So yeah, so that's kind of, post this, I've worked on various projects with fashion startups, creative assistants. I have worked at fashion shows, photo shoots, all of that. I've done so much in the fashion industry, visual merchandising, but all of these skills have really actually kind of supported me on my creative journey to this point. I can't code though, I absolutely can't code. So my previous role before entering the games industry was to like be a creative assistant supporting a new fashion business. So I was kind of working with like commercial awareness, strong like leadership and confidence, with kind of pulling graduate fashion designers in and like hosting them in pop-up shops and kind of, you know, giving them a platform to basically show off their work. So I had to really have like, you know, good concept and design skills to work with them, strong brand awareness. It was like doing the visual merchandising side of it. So like lots of different multiple skills that, you know, networking, building like relationships with other companies so we could host them and things like that. So it was, it was very creative and fun, but it just wasn't where I wanted to be. So I went on to do my MA at Nottingham Trent and did fashion marketing and business. I shouldn't say this at a college, but I got 2/3 of the way through, and then the job role appeared for Lockwood, and I was like, I'm going to go to that because it's really awesome, and it was in Nottingham, which was great for me. But yeah, from that, I'd actually been collating my research paper into looking at the metaverse and games industry and fashion. So it was like the stars had aligned, and my tutor was like, go, you're going to get paid for it. So that was me entering the games industry, and I was so nervous because I was like, oh gosh, I'm someone from fashion, like they're not going to kind of get it, like this is two different industries, but that was completely not what I experienced. I got to do so many like crazy like mixtures of different kind of release sets and work on some amazing things as a fashion assistant at Lockwood, coordinating and delivering like content and then supporting existing like retail team that they had there. So I curated like visual boards that you can see here, and like this is one of my, I think, first ones that I did, and trends for like future releases. So also supporting like the marketing artists and like dressing the Avakins that you'll see in a minute. And yeah, just coordinating external brands and learning that, you know, I was working with the outsources companies in China and all over the globe, which was really awesome, like communication skills and giving feedback and learning so much about like the character art. Like I was learning on the job basically, like chatting to the amazing team that we've got about like how could they bring my vision to virtual life basically. So yeah, I also started to see that I could bring my knowledge actually of this fashion industry So everything that I'd kind of learnt before and learnt in education into an industry and a business that fashion is such a main focus in Avakin, but it wasn't the biggest focus, and I'm actually trying to like really shape that fashion is what it's about, like this extension and like self-expression, which is really important. You know, we all know that that's the first thing you do when you kind of open up most games or apps is you've got to kind of create your avatar and your look and who do you want to be that day. So I really like that. So yeah, I kind of worked up my way at Lockwood. I ended up going in to be a fashion designer, which I have worked as before, so that was cool to kind of do this and not have to do the pattern cutting. I didn't have to do any of that technical side and the physical cutting and stitching and all of that. So yeah, this was more fitting for my position post creating a more streamlined and traditional way of working. So I was providing original like illustrations and concepts that would require feedback from our outsourcing contractors and the internal character artist, like I said before. So it was really cool to kind of just be a part of the content train, as it were, and really I learned so much in that short space of time, just, you know, just listening and going around the computer screens pre-Zoom and, you know, seeing what it took to kind of create a virtual asset into and then get it live into game as well, because it's a very complex process. I mean, the whole QA side of things, quality assurance and getting your bugs in of like glitchy outfits and things, that's a whole thing now. So yeah, I kind of then went on to fashion lead. So we realised we needed more capacity and an actual team. So I went on and moved up to become fashion lead, and I hired some fashion designers that were also working in like the retail space, such as designing for Zara or H&M and things like that. So we had this team, and then COVID hit. So I had to onboard them remotely, which was challenging, but we got there. We did lots of Zoom calls, which was fun. So yeah, this is where it got exciting and interesting with a fusion like being created. So it was two industries collectively like colliding together. So I think at first when within the games industry, I think we are the first fashion team, which is really, really awesome. Like it's almost like we are a fast fashion, not that I agree with fast fashion, team, because we are creating content, we're churning it out, and you know that's creatively it's a challenge. Like, how do we keep that inspiration up? And you know, it's a lot of research, a lot of time, but it's a live game, so we have to work at a very fast pace, which I enjoy. I love that buzz. So yeah, we then went on to achieve some incredible figures and achievements, you know, within our content. We've had some amazing wins with some of the releases, and I have had to get my team to design. You know, they were used to designing clothing. They've had to go off and design wings, for instance, which is, you know, our top tier content. It's what I absolutely love. They've designed hair, which is something that they never thought they'd do, and makeup and nails and just like everything that you couldn't think of that the character would need they've had to design it. So I've definitely challenged my team over the past 3 years. So my current role as head of fashion, I still manage my team. I'm always reviewing their designs, so I'm always looking at the content that's being produced and aware of what's being in. But this also means that I have to be aware of what other things are going on to create a full creative campaign within the app. So I'm really involved in the artistic and creative direction at Lockwood and for Avakin Life side, so working with the whole content leadership team in ideating what the next big campaign is going to be. I've just come from a business trip actually discussing what the rest of the year is going to look like and kind of working on the monetization aspect of that, and we can't just do something because it's cool. There has to be a reason behind that. So there's a lot of research and time that goes into kind of collating this and testing it as well. So lots of chatting and discussions. So yeah, I also kind of work on the biz dev side. So I'm reaching out to exciting opportunities. Me especially, because of my fashion background, it's more of reaching out to fashion brands that can work with us. which is really exciting. And it's, I think you'll see with the metaverse, more and more the fashion industry is wanting to kind of come in to this like game space, which is interesting. So I work very closely with the leads of experience design, the environment lead and animation. So it's all to make sure that the content's aligned and it works and it creates and gives a story and a flavour to the user. So yeah, like I said, looking at the monetization team, so strategically placing like content within the platform to get the best out of the pre-existing library that we have. So we have 30,000 assets. Like virtual content doesn't disappear, it's there forever. So how do we kind of shopify that experience? And, it's about how can we kind of maybe put something that was in the game, put into the game like 3 years ago, how do we kind of like highlight that and can we get the most return out of the content that we've already made? So yeah, I'm also constantly in meetings discussing various issues and strategies and looking at developments that we can kind of approach for different like tactical ways of creating the content. And I'm also currently involved in a lot of external talks surrounding the metaverse and fashion and the games industry, which has been really interesting, and it's exciting because it's all very new with the whole metaverse thing at the moment. So fashion and character art. So yeah, it's I've learned so much from the character art team when I started at Lockwood. Like, they have been incredible. And I think it's really interesting to see that this kind of position and role is greatly changing. I've just been actually interviewing graduates to come on board and join our team, and they were all really, really, really keen about fashion. Like, it was the main thing that they wanted to kind of work, and they're excited about working with fashion designers, which has been great. So my team's made up of an exciting mix of fashion designers and character artists, and we have so much fun ideating and coming up with ridiculous wing designs, big fancy ball gowns, and fluffy bunny slippers. We make everything. That's like the best part of our job. My designers love it. Like, they get to really kind of put all their creativity into, they're not working for a high street retailer anymore. They're working for the metaverse, which is incredible. They get to really push boundaries in what they're wanting to kind of create in this virtual world, which is really cool. So yeah, like I said, I think we're pretty certain that we are the first fashion team in the games industry. So I'm really proud of that. It's really cool to be a part of it, and there's like lots of interest from both industries kind of being like, we see what's happening here kind of thing. So yeah, we're heavily female based, so I can't talk too much. Like, my game industry background is just Lockwood, but I know that that's quite a big feat in the games industry. Like, we're a female force team. Not only now, we do have Tiago, who's based in Lisbon, and he's joined our Slack chat, which he finds hilarious because it's just all full of us girls chatting away about fashion. But yeah, we're always like aiming to achieve and strive and like look at fresh content from a really creative aspect. So it's really fun. I love my job. So our process begins with research stage. So we have to kind of, analyse our users' feedback of what we've done in the past, look at data and metrics, which I get someone else to look at, on past performances, and discuss with the community and like gather insights into what our players are desiring and like what do they want. So there's a lot of research that goes into every release. Do we make everyone happy on a publish day? I don't think so, because we can only make so many assets, but we do try and offer an array and a diverse amount of content. So yeah, most of our work is actually made up from traditional sketches. So this is Nicola's work. That's I don't think this has actually been released yet. So sneak peek. The concepts then get passed on to our character artists. So we have a team now in Vietnam that work on actually 3D modelling and then texturizing and getting these assets turned into a 3D Avakin asset, which is really cool to be a part of. And my team then give them the feedback and discuss and kind of get them to make the changes and see if the texture's right and things like that. We've also started training up in Marvelous Designer ourselves, so we're still learning on the job. Like, education never stops. So like, yeah, I started learning Marvelous Designer when I was in the industry, and I'd highly recommend if anyone's interested to, I don't know if you've got that software, maybe, I don't know, but it's worth having and having a play with it. It's really cool. You can create fabrics and clothing and, you know, really kind of get creative as a virtual fashion designer with that. So yeah, we like many in the physical world, we use WGSN, so that's a trend forecasting platform site that kind of shows insights into the industry and the wider like global, not just fashion, but interiors and business and like what's going on. So we use that to kind of look at how we are approaching our content. So we're trying to keep the flavour globally, but also making sure it's relevant and fresh. So yeah, that and other websites for research. We work to a really loose like seasonality because in fashion, you are designing for the country where that fashion is going to go into store, where we don't have that issue, like we're global. So we kind of have to, we think of like the traditional, like it's summertime, maybe we should be looking at bikinis in the game or some swimwear, but in actual fact, we could put fur in the middle of summer or whatever, so it's very loose. There's no gates surrounding us in this like virtual landscape, so we can be really creative. So we're cross-regional, so we've got the freedom to approach the season with fluidity and flexibility, which is really awesome for creativity, but also can be quite daunting. And you can get a bit of a creative block sometimes, which can be scary. So we like, work, I've already done that bit, so I'm going to skip to the next slide, sorry about that. We're a forever hotbed of innovation in fashion. So this is like the virtual fashion landscape I kind of wanted to discuss with you guys. So we're forward thinking and recurrent. So fast fashion's always about creating an instant like kind of gratification. So mentality, so the kind of rise of like see now, buy now culture. Gaming offers that kind of quick fix to get that content and, you know, posting it on social media. You can be a part of a game and maybe you can't afford a big ball gown dress, but you know there's that openness to kind of be able to do that in Avakin, which is really, really cool. We also have an incredibly quick production turnaround, so from design, unless it gets to QA and it's not fixable, that's always a case. But yeah, from design to creation to an instant publish, we're talking about what, like maybe like a month, so that's not very long really. There's no mass production game, so one asset we can basically kind of reiterate multiple times, which is really cool. So we can like look back in our archive and actually say, how can we manipulate maybe this dress and change it to use it as another and change the texture, which is it's nice to be able to have an archive that we can kind of work that from. So yeah, I think it's also a sustainable approach. So with younger generations and like I just mentioned fast fashion, there's like a lot of people, you know, spending lots of money on clothing that they probably have only worn once, where in the metaverse you can be at a party, I don't know, in Rio de Janeiro with your friends, and you're actually talking to people from across the globe and you're wearing this awesome dress and maybe there's like a brand that's in the game, or, you know, you can perhaps actually obtain that. So that's you know, it's something to embrace, and it's, you know, that's the beauty of Avakin. This kind of also leads to the evolution of like the fashion show. So something we've always witnessed over the past year is the immediate like rise and surge of like rushing brands to kind of come in and do immersive shows within like this virtual landscape. So games provide that delivery of like that instant gratification of like to the consumer, and this like closing the gap between the visibility of a show and the moment of a purchase. It's like far surpassing that within the real world that we sit in. So it can be a lot slicker and pioneering. We can really offer like maybe a music event, and then you can obtain that asset within, like as soon as that show kicks off, which you can't really do in the real world. So yeah, for emerging fashion brands, this like experiential landscape, we can offer them brand awareness, but we can also say, hey, you want a fashion show in the clouds, or you know, somewhere that's really abstract and different, and we can offer that, which is really awesome. So it's like a test bed for how the consumer is going to behave in the future within like the metaverse, which is really interesting to kind of be a part of. We successfully hosted our own fashion altered space in 2020, so this was like in the pandemic. So we provided an experience within this canyon space. So I was like, oh, let's do it in the middle of nowhere and have this like funky like layout of, and it's a bit abstract, and this like gates kind of, you know, you don't know where you are, you don't know if there's fashion in there. And we did this amazing thing where we got brands and like just graduated designers. We did drops in the game, and we had their clothing like mirrored on the walls, and the community kind of got involved, and it was where we were having interviews on YouTube with the designers, and there was lots of like conversation between the designers kind of discussing their creative kind of approach to this like collection, and like kind of getting that engagement with our users to them, which was a real great experience, and it went really, really well. So yeah, these virtual experiences can be marketed, and they can create a buzz and on the social like kind of platforms and within the games community. So digital commerce allows for users to feel really connected to the products via an online experience, gaining interest for that brand, which is important. And then we've kind of got this like other side to visual merchandising, which is reborn in so many different ways, where you can like kind of have the ability to, if I'm a brand, I want, you know, how can you show off my products in a game? And you can be way more creative and kind of think outside the box and do something a little bit different than just a normal shop window. So the metaverse and new careers. I've spoken at a lot of panels recently, a lot of them over Zoom, and this is really lovely to be in front of an actual audience. But yeah, a lot of discussion is around like new careers, and that's mainly where I kind of chat. It's where fashion and like the metaverse and gaming, it's very much a recurring theme at the moment. So my team are built up, like I said, of character artists and designers. However, we actually have to provide an array of content, meaning that we create the concepts and briefs surrounding a multitude of different areas. So these different areas include, like I said, hair and beauty, visual merchandising, like we support the environment team. I've just come away from like an ideation session of like, we're hosting a boat party, how do we upsell the clothing, like how can we make this area look really cool? And one of my team members is, you know, designing the mannequins and like, you know, doing the set design basically, and working with the environment artist. Fashion production, so someone at Lockwood actually worked in fashion, and she now produces the fashion game, which is like a styling fashion contest in Aberdeen. So she produces that, and she has to like actually collate and put these games together. So what assets are going into this contest that people can style and go against, and there's a lot of thought in that, which is awesome. Interiors, so one of my designers is actually now not doing the fashion side, they're doing the interiors, so actually designing the props that goes with the environments, and working with the props and environments team on like actually creating those 3D assets. So interior design is another avenue. Biz dev, that's mainly what I do, so reaching out to fashion brands and seeing if we can get external companies into Avakin Life. Styling, so these Avakins that you've seen is like they've been styled by my team. They dress them, and we're always having to do that for the creative services team, because the marketing, we obviously have to have our Avakins everywhere. We love them. Yeah, so styling's one of them, and then like even jewelry design and things like that, and nails, and you know, just the things that I never thought about that I would be involved in. Yeah, lots of new opportunities within this fashion and kind of like metaverse games world, which is really cool. We've also supported in creating bundles, so we've actually worked with live operations, the live op side of the business. So this is like merchandising our huge library of existing content for seasonality and events. So there could be a music event, and they'll ask us if we can provide the list of the content that they need to support an upsell in that space, which is it's really cool. It's pretty cool to kind of work through and see what you've done and place it and try and get more coins from that by putting it into an event. And it's great. You learn so much from working with different departments. It's really, really enriching. So yeah, this shows like the future of games and fashion is crossing over from even just a designer's input, right? We could be looking at working with fashion stylists in the future. We could be looking at merchandising, hairstylists and makeup artists. So the needs are all there, and it's really interesting to kind of delve into that and find out. So luxury redefined. So we're kind of looking at what kind of really upsells, like what's our whale content. So like our users are split into, we have dolphin, minnows and whales. So whales are the people that spend a lot of money inside Avakin. So we are a free-to-play game. So we offer an array of content that supports that free-to-play platform. But we also, obviously, we're a business. So we offer like IAPs, which are in-app purchases. This is exclusive content, usually like bundled with coins. You'll probably, you perhaps all played a mobile app game. And this is kind of where we offer our whale content. So big ball gowns normally, and gold wings. So users are craving for more ways to kind of create individuality and affinity online now more than ever. Like, you want to look the best that you can look in real life, or you can do it if you don't want to do that in real life, or I don't know, you can just do this on Avakin. You've got that kind of extension of who you want to be on this app, which is great. So to kind of achieve this sense of success and desire, opening the doors to virtual brands is really important in designers. But yeah, like creating that individual and affinity to a key aspect. Brand recognition is really important. So we've had Nike in the game, and that really, really performs well. Sharing styles like within these biospheres. So it's about sharing your extension with your friends. So the social side of it. Encouraging the expression and experimentation. So we do like a lot of community activities on like Instagram and getting them to like upstyle what they've got. And then gold and shiny is the content that really performs really well. Anything that we put gold in the game is our golden eggs. And like I said before, the wings as well. They're really like, I think when we put the wings into game, they performed at a huge rate, and they are like our golden egg in the game. That is, they're priced at a really high price point. And that's when you're like ultimately showing off. You like, I've spent a lot of like money on this. And I always call it like peacocking, you're showing off your peacock feathers. So yeah, items that express individuality. So we have like so many personas in Avakin. We offer an array of different content. It isn't just all ball gowns. We have like a huge goth alternative community that I love designing for. I think that's really, really cool. And then also we look at limited availability. So, IAPs that go into the store, how long should they be there, where we can get the most out of them, and it creates that desirability. So I spoke a couple of months ago to an external company and described the feeling of like this moment in time, like into the metaverse. It's like standing on the edge of a waterfall at the moment. We're like kind of waiting and planning to see how it all turns out and goes, but we're also a part of it, and we've got to kind of jump off, and it's a little bit scary. We have to do these things well. It's really important. So how we do that is making sure that the community, and we're listening to our user base first and foremost, like they are the metaverse. It's the people that make this space amazing. It's really important that we listen to them and make sure that we give them the tools so they can kind of be the best that they can be in Avakin, or be the awesome goth vampire or whatever, so they can just go and explore and have a great time, basically. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go to this one. So yeah, I think we've got like higher tier brands and third-party brands like feed this desire with this exclusivity. So the content is like especially based on like a lot of the IAPs and whale content. We aim to create like a rhythm system of exclusive drops. So of the content via like limited key items with a high tier. So like I said, IAPs, and kind of putting them into a special like on a Friday with the event and kind of shaping it so you're getting this luxury content when we've kind of got a big opening. You want the full bang in Avakin, so you want to look good, the exclusive entry, early access, buzz and rarity, which you hear like these, boosters in games. This creates kind of a ripple effect of item exclusivity and the desire that filters into the mass user base. So our metaverse, so it is a 3D virtual world, kind of summarising a little bit of what I've gone over. It mirrors, so we try and mirror this world, but I want to kind of, from a creative direction point of view, I want us to move a bit further into more of the abstract and play on like the fun that can be had in the metaverse. And actually, do we want to do a music festival that's like what you can go to in the UK, or do we want to do something that you can't go to I don't know, maybe you're floating around in a spaceship, who knows. It's a safe space to explore. It should always be a safe space to explore. And it cannot exist, like I said, it cannot exist without the people. The people are what make the metaverse and make Avakin. It's mobile and it's a low barrier entry. So devices, like I said, Brazil is, they're on low mobile devices. It's a free to play game. It's you know, there for everyone. So creating releases and IAPs that have value means concentrating on our personas, so real-world fashion trends, celebrity and influencer culture, as well as an undercurrent online, like emerging trends evoking like nostalgia and aesthetics. So Y2K has been massive in Avakin. That whole trend is a thing if you've heard of it. It's important we kind of build this desire and authority through aligning our content fluidly and mindfully to engage all of our users. So luxury content is a big win with Avakin. They love the over-the-top creative styles and flamboyancy of styling a ball gown, for instance, with a set of gold wings. So I think I've covered everything here. So I've babbled a lot. There's so much to say and explore and like kind of go into, and I could chat all day. But if anyone's kind of got any questions more about like the career side of things, I'd be happy to take any questions. Tony.